weather. How are you? I really appreciate your attitude, your understanding of the situation, your feelings. It's, it really, it means a lot for me personally and for our people. Well, I live in the western part of Ukraine, which is not like, we don't have battles here. It's not a hot point. Our region, Rivne city, has been bombed 3 times. Yes, with people injured and killed, but still, it's, we can't compare our situation with the situation of the people in Kharkiv, in Mariupol, and so on. The weather, today we have a real spring with a warm wind. The sky is clear, and the sun is shining, and it's about around plus like 15 degrees above zero. It's really very, very nice weather for us, and we have a big holiday, so like the mood is quite good. What I see is that like European media actually support Ukraine. They say, like, they use the right naming. They say it's a war, not a special operation. Say that Russia is doing, like, is it a war crime? Actually, it's a war crime what they're doing. But still, it's not so simple situation in Europe, because there are countries which supports us like totally. We have like Lithuania, we have Estonia, like the Baltic region country, which we know what the Soviet Union is and what a hazard it can be for their countries. So they support us totally. They accept like our refugees, then even on our level of cooperation between the Rotary clubs, they are doing a great job. But for example, Hungary, they have had actually parliamentary elections, and the same leaders have been elected by the people, and those leaders are pro-Russia. And the media of like Great Britain, of the USA, France, they are on our side. Canada is also like supporting Ukraine totally. Still, there are some countries which are a bit neutral, or they are supportive of Russia. These are Germany is very in a tricky situation, so they are very like they quite, I would say, cautious in what they say. So we don't know how like Germany will. Our Ukrainian YouTube, stuffed with songs, with videos about the victims, with the documentaries of what's going on, with the blogs of our politicians, military guys, who are sharing the news, who are showing the truth. We don't listen to to songs except for the Ukrainian songs. We don't watch entertainment programs. Sorry. And they're trying to show the truth to the world. I'm sorry, give me a second, okay? So if the media is not like focused on entertainment, it's for sure. But we are fighting. What we're also doing. We have a so-called IT army. Yeah, those who know how to deal with computer, with programs. They are sharing the truth to the Russians, to those who support Russia. I don't know for sure because I'm not authorized to know the whole truth, but there were cases when Ukrainians actually gave information to Russians. Of course, we had huge losses in terms of economy. Lots of our plants, factories were attacked, but still those who were moved in time were saved. And now the western part of Ukraine is in charge of keeping the economy going on. The banks are working, no problem. Wi-Fi is working, internet is working. Around hundreds of our male associates, they joined the army forces. They receive their salary, so everything is okay for them. Still, no one is dismissed. Everybody has work. We all get our salaries. Those refugees who have lost their jobs, they receive financial support from the country. This money that were given by the European countries, by the US government, still surprisingly, because Russians were focused on destroying the plants which were gas, oil are being stored, and we have gas in our petrol stations. The price is much higher than it was before. There were 2 weeks, I would say, from the beginning of war, when we were tight with petrol, and only ambulances, army forces, and police cars were given priority. Still we have the right to say that Ukraine is we have some differences. Language, actually, it's a key factor here, because here in western part of Ukraine, 90% of people speak Ukrainian, and we are more closer to Polish traditions. We have more connections with Polish people. And Eastern Ukrainians had the same, but with Russians. So historically, there we had more people who were more sympathetic to Russians. They were also they believed that Russians are good. So they were people who were really believing that. Of course, some of these Ukrainians, they received money from Russian government to do that sort of things, to prepare, this front where reality and environment, Russian troops would come and Ukrainians would sing songs and be so happy to greet them. In some cases, Russians succeeded. In some cases, they failed. But when they started attacking Kharkiv, started bombing Kiev, even those people who thought that Russians are good, their mindset has changed. If probably before the war, around 15 or 20% people in the eastern part would say that Russians are good, but now, now the truth has revealed itself, and we all see who is who. So the mindset of the people has changed dramatically. But still, people in the western part of Ukraine who our grandmothers, grandfathers were also telling us, how Soviets, how cruel they were, what things they did to make Ukrainians stop speaking Ukrainian, to forget our history. this was not so vivid in the eastern part of Ukraine. So for us, for Western Ukraine, obvious that Russians are not our friends and not our brothers, what they claimed. But for Easterns, well, they... Personally, I don't, but in January, February, lots of people here in Ukraine, they started buying weapons. They start training, like how to use that weapon and being prepared with that. Yes, we have lots of voluntary troops where girls and boys are working. They're being trained how to use weapon, how to protect our cities and the civilians. We have all passed the trainings on giving the first aid. I would say that the majority of our people now know how to give that first aid to those who are wounded. And if to speak about the law, that as for now, if I'm not mistaken, we are like allowed to kill Russians. So now it won't be considered as a crime for Ukrainians. It was like in waves, I would say. I caught that COVID virus right before the war started. But I was vaccinated, so I didn't suffer it. So we are joking here in Ukraine that Putin is the first person to conquer to beat COVID, because now we are not concerned about the COVID at all. We have no time to get sick. Yes, they do. We are warmly welcoming unknown people. We have specially equipped centers for those who want to stay for a night or two and then move further. In the first days of war, we had centralized volunteer centers where people, civilians, would come and bring food, medicine, clothes, hygienes to those, clothes for children. And we managed to collect so many of these things. Our local government would say stop, because please stop coming and stop bringing food, clothes, etc., because we have more than needed. And people in Europe, they also are welcoming the refugees, and Rotary helps a lot in terms of that, because I personally managed to find a temporary home. Mm-hmm. Yes, firstly, we were meeting in Zoom to coordinate our activities, to be aware that everybody is safe, to know where we are, if we are okay. And then we started meeting in person. Also started involving and inviting those people from representatives of the military troops, from the people from the hospitals, doctors, to discuss their needs. And today we're also having a meeting. I can't say that our meetings are well, structured and scheduled in time. For example, we met on Saturday because we needed to accept to get the humanitarian aid from Poland. And today we're meeting because we have one guy who is really interested in Rotary and he would like to join Rotary. So we are meeting to welcome him, to introduce ourselves. One of our Rotarian, who is a doctor and currently is working in Germany. You would like to meet the Rotarians of one German Rotary club, and he would like to give a light of what we are doing in order to discuss how we can cooperate. Our district is also quite active, and with the means of those funds that they have collected, we're We are successful, I would say, in supplying the refugees, in supplying the hospitals, both in those hot regions as well as here in this part of Ukraine, with all necessary stuff. And we're continuing that. I've seen drones for sure. Seen the rocket flying. We have seen planes, but not Russian planes. Those were ours. And our city is located quite close to the border with Belarus. Now the situation is not so hazardous, I would say, because according to the information from the military, the troops are not on the borders right now, but they were for a few weeks, and we were living, we were going to sleep not knowing what will happen at night. The Russians and Belarusian troops would start crossing the border and attacking our city. We heard lots of sounds which look like the explosion, looked like gunshots. Can't be sure of what it was, but during the first 3 weeks of war, for sure, here. Those who were closer to the place of explosion, they've heard, and it was actually vivid. Yes, like the windows and the floors were moving. We are forbidden to be outside the streets, starting from 10 p.m., 6 a.m. in the morning. Our police and other organizations, they are looking for those people who give the information for Russia. A few days ago, while driving home, I've seen a truck with dead bodies. Cargo 200 means that these are dead bodies, and cargo 300 means that these are wounded people. I've seen the truck marked with cargo 200, which was driving from the Kiev side to Lutsk, to the western border. It was, very depressing moment. We we want to hope that it won't happen. Still, there were cases. Dangerous chemical liquid has got into the ground. Experts doesn't allow to use the waters, the underground. And there were explosions in the eastern part of Ukraine. And there were warnings about the acid rains that might happen. Well, personally, what I fear the most is to be not able to protect my family. And those people, who have kids, of course, their thoughts are about the kids. I have the possibility to go to Poland, to Sweden, to Germany, where my family and friends live, but I don't want to. And not only me, we are convinced that we will win. The matter of time and the matter of how many kids and civilians would die. But no one disputes here the fact that we will win. Well, and everybody, wakes up with the feeling of with the thought, what I can do to make that victory come earlier. And of course, we need help and support from other countries. And I know that everyone does what he or she can. It really matters for us to say the right things of naming the war a war. Well, what else? I understand that people in other countries, they don't have that feeling of being connected to this situation, and it's not the pain of their people, and well, that's okay. But still, any help would matter. We will have lots of work to for the economy, to recover people from not stress. Stress is a too no soft word, I would say. I'm very concerned about the children, the murders of their parents. I'm very worried about the kids who didn't notice all these things, but their mindset has been changed. They hear the sounds of these air alarms, and now they know what is going on. But still, there is a hope. I have, a nephew. He suffers because he is alone. So we are his friends. Hope to hear from you in the future. Thank you. And see you.